Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to do a quick review for Venom since it came out a few days ago and I was able to watch it on Friday. So, and just a heads up, when I do these like reviews for movies, TV shows, whatever, I'm just doing so basic, just purely as a fan, not in some kind of, technical professional capacity, because obviously I don't have those credentials, but yeah, just to put that out there, these are just from the point of view, a fan point of view. And I did only watch it once, so sometimes after watching it a few times, you can kind of, like, your point of view or your opinion about certain things might shift a little, but this is just my opinion after watching it just the first time, because I would like to see it again, whether that be in theaters or when it's out on digital or whatever. I do want to watch it again. So sometimes I do spoiler reviews, and typically if I am going to get into spoiler territory, I do give a warning. So yeah, it just depends what I start talking about and where it goes, where it leads me. So overall, I liked it. I know there was quite a bit of negative feedback coming out after the embargo was lifted earlier in the week. And I guess I'm not really surprised, because with this genre specifically, there tends to be a lot of just a lot of criticism in general, for the most part, with movies that are a little more of a risk, I guess you could say. Venom is not a typical hero or superhero movie. He's kind of like the anti-hero, right? Well, in some cases he's considered a villain, but I mean, I guess I just wasn't surprised that there was quite a bit of negative feedback coming out when the embargo was lifted. And I feel like since this genre has become so popular over the past few years, there's just such like high expectations, and one way or the other, people are going to complain, like, no matter what. They're kind of damned if they do and damned if they don't in this genre. So I didn't really let the negative comments and the negative stuff get to me or try, influence my viewing experience of the movie, because I didn't want it to. Like, I understand that it can be a good thing for reviews to come out before the movie comes out. But at the same time, it can affect the way people feel about the movie before they even watch it, and then while you're watching the movie, you're kind of like nitpicking at things that you probably wouldn't have had there not been all these reviews coming out before, and it can kind of affect your experience before you even watch the movie, whether you're looking forward to it or not. So I tried not to let that stuff get to me, and like I said in a previous video, I was excited to watch it anyway. And I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I really am happy that they chose Tom Hardy. I thought he was a great pick from day one, and he definitely made the movie what it is. As far as, well, I'm surprised that it's PG, that they decided to go with a PG-13 cut of the movie. I think when a Venom movie was announced, people automatically assumed it would be rated R, because it was not just going to be like a Spider-Man movie with Venom as the villain, right? It was just going to be a Venom origin story movie. And, people were like, well, if they stay pretty true to the source material, it's most likely going to be rated R, because he's a pretty graphic character by nature. So most people expected it to be rated R, and then when more information started coming out about it, they were like, yeah, it's going to be rated R. So, but then it got known that it was going to be PG-13, and so that makes people automatically assume that there was plenty of things that were cut from the movie that would have made it rated R, But it does push the limits of a PG-13 movie, in my opinion. I think they definitely tried to keep as much as possible as they could with still getting a PG-13 rating. So it's still a mature movie. It's not like a kid-friendly movie or anything like that, but I do think that they got scared to take the risk of releasing a rated R comic book movie, even though it is Venom, you know. So once I saw that it was PG-13, I automatically knew that a lot of stuff was not going to be included in the theatrical version. And I think there's times in the movies that you can kind of tell that they're trying to keep it somewhat lighter. I don't know what other word to use, but you can tell that they're trying not to make it so heavy, I guess you could say, if you're talking about like the tone of the movie. So that seemed to be a big complaint with a lot of people, but I mean, there were a few things I could have done without, as far as like humor here and there, or some of the levity that they try to bring into it. There were a couple parts I could have done without, but it didn't like ruin the movie for me. Didn't ruin my experience or my opinion of the movie. But I do want to see some of the stuff that they took out from the movie. I believe Tom Hardy mentioned that his favorite parts of the movie were cut. All his favorite parts of the movie were cut. And so who knows what was included in that stuff. I'm sure, as with most of these movies, things will slowly start coming to light about things that were cut from the movie, scenes that were cut, you know, possible, maybe if there were different things in the plot, or, you know, I mean, if they cut like a 40 minutes out, which I think it was, then that has to be a substantial amount of things that were included in, not just like action and gore and stuff like that made it rated R, but I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the plot as well, because that's a pretty good chunk of a movie. And I didn't expect it to be super long, but, you know, that is kind of a lot to take out. So that whole 40 minutes couldn't have just been stuff that was too graphic for PG-13. It probably had to do with the plot and stuff as well, which I'm not saying a source is saying that. That's just what I think, personally. Because if you think about it, for instance, BVS. It's always the thing we go back to, right? Always the movie we go back to. They only took 30 minutes from the rated R version, or the ultimate cut. They took 30 minutes from that and released that version in theaters. And that 30 minutes that they took out, yeah, it's not an additional 30 minutes tacked on to the end. It's like just distributed throughout the movie, right? All those little things that were taken from the movie, they made a big difference. And that was just 30 minutes of the overall movie, not added on to the end of additional footage or anything like that. A couple minutes here, a few minutes there, a scene here, a couple lines there, you know, little things. And they made a big difference in the flow, in, you know, just details of the movie that added to the movie itself, you know, things that were all just like, why would they take that out? And I have a feeling that some of that happened with Venom. That's what I think. Could have maybe improved the movie for people that didn't necessarily like it. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I think. Maybe not the whole 40 minutes, but maybe just some things, you know. But like I said, I'm sure things will start coming out about what was deleted and cut and whatever. Action, I thought the action scenes were pretty good, actually. They were actually pretty lengthy. They were a decent amount of time once they started getting to those parts of the movie. And I don't think they really disappointed in the action area. I did personally, I liked the relationship between Eddie and Venom. I think that was another complaint that was going around, was that people didn't really like the relationship between them. I did, personally. I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting. I thought Tom Hardy did a great job of portraying that. I didn't really have many problems with it. I enjoyed that part of the movie. Another criticism that was getting thrown around a lot was that it feels like a 90s superhero movie, or like a pre-Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like that era of movies. And that was the one thing I was trying to figure out while watching the movie, and I don't 100% understand why people are saying that. I mean, maybe that's just the vibe people are getting from it, which maybe a little bit here and there I could kind of get, but not for the overall movie. So maybe in the comments you guys can point out some things I'm not noticing or realizing about why people feel that way. Sometimes maybe like the music or like the score, not like the soundtrack, but like maybe sometimes the score during the action sequences, or is it like, I don't know why people are saying that. I want to know why. So tell me what you think if you feel that way. Yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I think the CGI could have been a little better in some parts. I think Venom looked good as a whole, and like when they showed close-up shots of his face and stuff, I think he looked good. And the other symbiote, but sometimes the parts that were a little like cringe-worthy for me were the parts where Eddie's kind of he's like semi-Venom and semi-human. He's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain if you haven't seen the movie, but there's parts where he's like, I don't know how to explain it. He's like phasing back and forth between human and symbiote. And those parts, or he's coming back, like transforming back down into Eddie from Venom. And those parts for me, I think, needed more attention in the CGI department. I realize that with these movies, there's so much CGI involved, and so there's going to be parts that don't look as good as other parts. I get that. And so I understand that. Not all of it's going to look perfect, but if I did have a complaint, that was one of them. I think some of those parts could have looked a little better. But overall, I enjoyed it. There was little things here and there, like I said, I could have done without, but I personally want to watch it again, and I'm very interested to see what was cut from the movie. I just want to know what was taken out, and so who knows, maybe they'll release an ultimate cut, a director's cut, a whatever cut of the movie, extended, however they want to name it, because I think as more people watch it, people are going to wonder what was cut from the movie, because like I said, most people expected it to be rated R or a little bit more comic book accurate, and so I think people are going to question what was cut from the movie, and I would definitely like to I would like to know too. So let me know what you guys thought of Venom if you have seen it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks guys again for watching. Hope I didn't ramble too much. We'll see you next time.